Okay, in this video, I have one more fiber example to show you, and this one's going to be a little bit different. So let's take a look at this. The purpose of this code is to show two fibers running simultaneously, both printing to the console more or less at the same time. The way I do this is I create this print message function. It takes the message, it takes the delay time, it takes the number of times to run. And of course, this is a ZIO effect. I use ZIO for each discard, so I say run this from 1 to the number of times. And if I haven't covered for each discard before, you could see the documentation over here. It says that it applies the function you give it to each element of the iterable and then runs the produced effects sequentially. So that's a little bit of a key. It's running those sequentially. So if number of times is 100, it will go from 1 to 100 and run this code here 100 times sequentially. And then you can see that this code here that I have highlighted is going to do that delay time for that period of milliseconds, and then it's going to print the message that's passed in right there. I use or die here just so I have that unit return type right there. That's the only reason for the or die. So again, whatever message you pass in here, I'm going to print from 1 to, let's say, 100 times. I'm going to use that delay time to sleep in between messages, and then I'm going to print that message. Then down here, I use that with two different fibers. And again, if you want to play with this later, you can add as many fibers to this as you want to. The first one I call F1 right here. And that message is fiber number 1. The delay time is 100 milliseconds, and the number of times to run is 20. Of course, I fork that off to create a new fiber. The second message is fiber 2, and notice that I have the 2 in a different column here. The delay time on this one is 200 milliseconds, and the number of times to run that one is 8. Then I do the usual join operations and then print a message at the end. So let's take a look at that. And you can see those two running side by side like that. So if I increase that, let's say to something, I don't know, like 50, that one could be 20. I'm just making up numbers here at this point. And to see some different output here, we could do something like 250. How about that? Let's save that and run that again. So this will run a little bit longer, and then I can show you that, fiber 1 is printing in this column, and then fiber 2 is printing in this column here. And as you would expect from the shorter delay time on fiber number 1, you're seeing fiber number 1 printed more often than you are seeing number 2 over there. So again, if you want to goof around with this code, you can do things like this and say, well, how about we have those two fibers there, and then we do a fiber 3 here and move that over to there and do a number 3 and give this, I don't know, some other different time right there to run like that. And I'm not going to add it here, but a nice question is, what is the other way to join multiple fibers? I showed this in a previous video. So I'm doing the longhand way right here. And as I showed in a previous video, there's a shorter way to do this. So that is a little bit of homework for you, is to remember how to do that and go ahead and do that. So let's let that run. And there you see all that output. So again, I encourage you to get the code from GitHub. Change it as much as you want in this area. Actually, change anything, anywhere you want, to help you learn more about how fibers work in ZIO.